State wildlife workers are investigating what they believe to be the first deadly mountain lion attack on a Coloradan in more than a quarter century.
A hiker was killed in Larimer County today. 9 News reporter Colton Chavez is there with more.
Colorado Parks and Wildlife tell me they've killed 2 mountain lions in this area, and they're testing both of them for human DNA.
I've never even seen a mountain lion myself, and I'm out here all the time.
On the first day of the new year, hikers looking to go up Crozier Mountain Trail in Larimer County were stopped in their tracks.
Yeah, somebody walked out of the fire station and said there was a human mountain lion kill on the trail. And obviously they recommended that I don't hike it.
Colorado Parks and Wildlife say around 12:15 on New Year's Day, an adult woman who was hiking alone was found dead next to a mountain lion. State wildlife officials say the woman was discovered by hikers who threw rocks at the animal to scare it away. It's being investigated as a suspected fatal mountain lion attack.
One mountain lion was shot on scene by officers, later tracked and euthanized. A second lion was located in the area and also euthanized by officers.
CPW spokesperson Caravan Hu says it took a multi-agency response, both in the air and on the ground, to track the 2 mountain lions that were shot and killed. She says if human DNA is not found in either animal, the search will continue.
Lions are typically very territorial. If you find one in the area, it sometimes is the only one, depending on kind of that familiar structure.
It is considered very rare for a mountain lion to attack a human. CPW says 28 have been reported to them since 1990. The last deadly attack in 1999. If you see a mountain lion, they encourage you to make noise, throw things at them, try to appear bigger, and back away.
There's a new warning tonight about the risk of avalanches in the Central Rockies. The Colorado Avalanche Information Center put out a special advisory for tomorrow through Sunday for the Elk and West Elk Mountains, so near Aspen and Crescent Butte. Agencies warning people headed into the high country that conditions could lead to avalanches large enough to kill someone. 9 News meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen is along to talk about the conditions behind this. Corey?
Yeah, you know, the snow that's falling right now is part of that formula, but a lot of it has to do with the sunshine that we've had over the last couple of weeks. We've got unstable layering in the snowpack. It's this new snow that's falling now will kind of fall on some really sugary, soft crystals and even some icy sheen. So a foot of snow that we'll probably see in some of the mountain ranges could easily slide and hurt or kill somebody. Here's the current situation out at the boat. We've got some champagne powder starting to fall from the sky. We're almost up to 2 inches so far today. The bulk of the snow will come tonight into about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. These advisories go until 5 p.m. Quite a few ranges could see up to about a foot of snow in some spots. Here in Denver, we'll stay warm and we'll stay dry. Here's today's high temperature, 64 degrees. This is the box score, weather box score for Denver. 20 degrees above the average and only 3 degrees away from tying another record high temperature, and we'll carry record heat all the way into the weekend. This is what tomorrow looks like in Denver. We could come close to 60 again. A little bit more sun mixing into the clouds, but still mostly cloudy tomorrow. The next 3 days looks pretty warm. We've got more Gulf weather on the way. The next storm system to change our weather won't come until the middle of next week.
A strike by the ski patrol at Telluride is approaching the 1-week mark. No signs of a deal to end it.
And businesses around town, they're really taking a hit. They're feeling it. 9 News reporter Shalima Maharaj is in the studio with more on that. Shalima.
That's right. According to the Telluride Tourism Board, bookings for short-term rental lodgings are down 54% year over year. And that is just over the past week.
You know, it's been very uncertain, very unpredictable.
Andy Mikulich has a unique perspective. He's a former ski patroller who's now a business owner.
But in the last week, we've seen our sales drop by 22% between the date of the closure, the 27th of December, until today.
He runs Tellurides, a ground transportation service provider.
Our business relies solely on guests attending Telluride ski area in the wintertime, and that generates 70 to 75% of our yearly income.
Telluride ski patrollers have been on the picket line for 6 days. The resort says the ski patrol union rejected their last, best, and final offer. The resort closed on December 27th.
It's a microeconomy. It's difficult to navigate through.
Contract talks between the two sides broke down last month. The union says they're trying to fix a broken wage structure.
Our wages have been compressed for decades, and that's really the main goal of what we're trying to fix here.
Catherine Devlin, an advanced patroller in Telluride and vice president of the Patrollers Union, says it all comes down to retaining workers.
And it was getting to the point where we were just bargaining with ourselves.
The resort says the union is asking for too much money. It put out a statement this week saying it's actively working to reopen lifts 1 and 4 as soon as possible. It also says they formed a recruitment team to hire experienced personnel to temporarily fill the gap so the resort can reopen.
For those that are planning to come to Telluride, bear with us.
Andy says he is doing his best for his business that's been around for 12 years and the 32 employees that rely on him for a paycheck.
I really hope that the agreement is a long-term agreement where both parties will be happy.
Now, Andy tells me he's been looking at his projected sales for the next 2 weeks. They are down about 43%. He says there have been quite a few cancellations, and even if the resort reopened tomorrow or next week, it's hard to know just how many people have decided to book elsewhere. Shalima Maharaj, 9 News.
President Trump now says that he decided to derail a major drinking water project in Colorado in part because he believes that people are leaving Colorado in droves. It's a highly questionable claim that Trump appears to be basing on a single moving company's numbers. Trump vetoed a bill that passed Congress unanimously. It would have finished the Arkansas Valley Conduit. That project's designed to bring clean drinking water to dozens of communities on the Eastern Plains. Trump had actually restarted that long-delayed project and took credit for it during his first term. But recently, he's been promising harsh measures against Colorado because the state won't release election denier Tina Peters from prison. In an interview with Politico, Trump tied his veto of the water project to his view of Democratic Governor Jared Polis, called him a bad governor. And Trump said that people are leaving Colorado, quote, in droves. In a Truth Social post, Trump mentioned this, and he cited a survey by United Van Lines. That company reported about 600 more outbound moves than inbound moves involving Colorado this year. We looked, and 4 other moving companies released similar studies this year. Not one of those other companies found any significant migration out of Colorado. Now, we know that years of explosive population growth in Colorado have been slowing in the past decade, but the state is continuing to grow. Trump's claim is at odds with government data. In July, the state demographer said Colorado continues to grow and is projected to grow faster than the national average.
There are no longer tax credits designed to reduce the cost of health insurance for hundreds of thousands of Coloradans. The Affordable Care Act subsidies expired at midnight. Healthcare advocates have warned their expiration could mean Coloradans' premiums doubling on average. The tax credits were meant to help Americans who don't get their health insurance from an employer and who don't qualify for Medicaid or Medicare. Those are people like small business owners and farmers. They were first given to ACA enrollees in 2021 as a temporary measure to help Americans get through the pandemic. Democrats in power at the time extended them, moving the expiration date to the start of 2026. They tried to extend them again by shutting down the government last fall, but Republicans blocked that. The House is scheduled to vote next week on a 3-year extension of the subsidies, but even if it passes, it's not guaranteed to make it through the Senate. A new state law that took effect today is designed to give Coloradans better access to mental health and substance abuse services. The bipartisan legislation requires insurance companies to cover those kinds of treatments the way they would cover any physical illness. The law is a big change from the current practice where insurance companies are able to use their own internal criteria to decide if mental health treatment is necessary. We spoke to Mona Abaza, whose daughter struggled with self-harm. Doctors said she needed inpatient care, but insurance companies denied those claims. So Abaza paid out of pocket for years. She even took out a second mortgage. Healthier Colorado, an advocacy group who backed this new law, says families shouldn't have to make that choice.
I would have sold my home, my car, and lived on the street to care for my child. Any parent would have.
If you need mental health care, you shouldn't have to go into crippling debt to get it. And you shouldn't have to be in a full-blown crisis and potentially lose a loved one to suicide.
Under the new law, if insurers deny coverage, they have to clearly explain the reason for the denial and base it on the national standards of care.
Flu in Colorado is spiking right now. Case rates are among the highest in the country. The CDC says cases in Colorado are classified as very high. According to the state health department, nearly 800 people were hospitalized with the flu last week. Michael Boyne is the charge nurse at Porter's ICU. He says they are seeing people come in seriously sick. That's unusual, he says, this early in the season. They've seen people needing ventilators, one person needing continuous dialysis. He said their most severe cases are in people who are not vaccinated.
We don't want to keep seeing people coming in here to our ICU on ventilators, seriously ill, potentially looking at the flu being, a fatal illness for them, which, we're seeing that. And that is heartbreaking to see someone with the flu get that sick.
Flu cases are not showing signs of letting up in Colorado right now, and doctors remind us it's not too late to get a flu shot if you haven't already.
More than a decade after the unsolved killing of a beloved cyclist in northern Colorado, a new affordable housing community in Windsor is honoring his legacy. Jacoby Meadows is named after Johnny Jacoby. He was shot and killed while riding his bike in 2015. The senior community, built on land once owned by Jacoby's family, will provide housing for adults 55 and up. It's also designed to keep Jacoby's story visible in the town where he was known so well. The Loveland Housing Authority says Jacoby was considered the unofficial mayor in Windsor because he knew so many people, and they just don't want his case to be forgotten.
Naming the property in honor of Johnny, it can help solve his case. That would be wonderful.
As of today, 21 units at Jacoby Meadows were still available.
A small business just won a zoning fight with the city of Denver after our reporting this week that the city admitted it was in the wrong but still wanted that business to move. It's a taco truck, Tacos y Tortas El Peluche. They built a loyal customer base out of a parking lot on Federal. The truck had been parked there, licensed with the city every year since 2013. But when the owner, Martin Salvador, went to renew his license this year, he was told he actually needed a different permit, and he was not eligible to stay where he had sat for a decade with the city's permission. Turns out the city moved applications online recently, and the online application found a zoning error that the city had been missing for more than 10 years. So the city told him he had to go.
The guy that I talked to, I told him I've been here for 11, 12 years and I've never heard about this. It's like, yeah, I don't know why nobody caught this before. I'm sorry. This is what pays the bills, what pays our mortgage, our car insurance, bills. It's the whole thing.
This week, following our reporting, the city reached out to Martin to tell him that he could operate the truck in the same spot for at least the next year, and they'll work with him on the zoning issue.
Using the northbound I-25 express lanes between Fort Collins and Berthoud, still free. CDOT told our reporting partners at the Coloradan that it estimates tolling along the 19-mile stretch will start sometime in the next 3 months. Tolling was initially projected to start in the middle of 2024. But the Coloradan reports there were delays with equipment and technology. When they do start tolling, the revenue will help pay off the loan that funded the project. This type of delay has happened before. It took more than 2 years for CDOT to begin tolling drivers on the I-25 South Express lanes from Castle Rock to Monument.